So we got Steven Stamp Lax, editor and author for Inside Lacrosse Indoor. So IL Indoor.
So here is Lyle Thompson, and this is something I'm writing about in my musings this week. There's a lot of cross-pollination here. It's just great to talk through these things. But you see the work that Lyle Thompson does. He comes up with the loose ball after some help from Seth Oakes, but he does this all the time. Lyle Thompson, we all know what a great scorer he is. He's so dynamic, so explosive. This one leads directly to the Andrew Q goal there that we see. And Lyle just works so hard. You don't always see superstars working the way that Lyle Thompson does. But I remember he was the MVP in the NLL in 2017. Great season, 116 points, I think. I don't have it in front of me. And then 2018, he had one of the most incredible seasons. Wasn't quite the numbers, so he didn't get as much attention, but he led Georgia in goals, points, loose balls, and caused turnovers. 22 caused turnovers. Unbelievable for a forward, a star forward, to lead in all those categories. It was an incredible season. He can go back. It's you talk a lot of times when a forward goes back on D, say, oh, they've got so-and-so caught on D, and they're going to take advantage. You don't take advantage of Lyle Thompson. He's not caught on D. He's just back playing defense because he's good enough to do it. He can play anywhere on the lacrosse floor and be a difference maker. But the effort here is huge, and he did it a bunch of times in this game against Toronto. And that's huge. And I think that actually will kind of lead into our next clip is the going back and playing defense and making decisions, if I recall what the next clip is. Here you go. 30-second clock expires. You see the referee on the far side patting his helmet means 30-second expiry. Phil Mazuka breakaway. Now, if we look at this again, you see Q has the ball. He's got to put it down, right? Good idea. Put it down. You can't roll it away. But he's standing there. He just puts it down, heads to the bench. Brendan Bomber is at the edge of the screen. Bomber usually makes really good decisions. They both head to the bench. There they are, Q and Bomber trotting over to the bench. A defender may even jump out a little early based on where he is when we see him on the screen. It's close. The first one out still couldn't catch up with Mazuka. And somebody just has to run back there. Should it be Q? That was my first thought. Watching it again, I think, hey, maybe Brendan Bomber, he just runs straight back. You can't interfere with the guy starting the play, but you can be running back and be in the way and not let him have a breakaway. And this leads directly to a goal for Phil Mazuka in Toronto.
Yeah, and then here's Thompson's swim move over Martin.
Justin Martin. Unbelievable. Justin, this is Lyle Thompson's 300th NLL goal, becomes the third Indigenous player to hit that mark along with Jeff Shatler and Cody Jamieson. This is a gorgeous play, but look at where all the other Toronto defenders are. Great job by Georgia of isolating for Lyle Thompson, but you're leaving a rookie defender against one of the hardest players to ever cover in the history of the game one-on-one, all alone with no help anywhere. There's no chance for anybody to get there for help. The way that this is set up. And it happens again later in the game on Zach Kearney. And, those are two rookie defenders. They're both pretty. I think Justin Martin's a great young player. We've seen the terrific year he's had. Defensive one-on-one defense isn't his greatest strength. He's pretty good. He's a good team defender. Obviously, his transition game is fantastic, as we're going to see shortly. But he can't handle Lyle Thompson there. And that's not really anything against him. You've got to help him out. So we move on from Justin Martin getting burned to making a terrific play here. He hasn't been scoring goals in transition like he was. I mean, he scored in his first 3 or 4 games, first 3 games, I think, with the Rock. And if you didn't know him from before, it could be a surprise. But I've seen him play a ton in different leagues, and I was not even remotely surprised. He is very fast, very intuitive. Here, he's going to take off. It becomes a 3-on-1. And watch the play that he makes to find Josh Dawick off the bench. Just patience, poise, great body position to be in a spot to make the pass to Dawick for what turns out to be the winning goal in the game. And this is just Justin Martin being so dangerous in transition, not just as a shooter. And they do. I mean, you don't necessarily think of Josh Dawick as the guy who's going to be coming off, the young player. You've got a bunch of experienced guys who are, you would think, the ones who are going to make that big play, but Josh Dawick showing he's absolutely ready for his moment. I was going to say Lintner's usually the guy on the right side for them that's coming out. So, and he's quick, and he, again, great job to just drag the defenders down down deep, because Lintner's such a threat that they're gonna have to pay attention to him. And Justin Martin sees that all as he's running the floor, and he's got that kind of speed that some guys have, where you're coasting, very controlled, but still going fast. I mean, for a lot of guys to be going that fast, they're just flat out, and it's hard to make a controlled pass. It's hard to have the wherewithal to make the pass and be aware of everything. But he's just got that gliding speed, like a Colton Watkinson or somebody, where they just get floating down the floor and cover so much space that it's putting them in a good position to make a play. And I mean, I started seeing him in the Arena Lacrosse League East, playing, I believe, he played for the Six Nations Snipers, and he was the Transition Player of the Year in the ALL, and just lightning. I mean, that's when I first saw him, and then he played in the Laxnai and was great. Played in the PBLA last year, and everywhere he goes, he's a difference maker. And I've thought for a few years that he should be in the National Lacrosse League, and it's great to see him there, and playing at the very highest level of the pro game, and just thriving so far.
But now we've got the New York Buffalo highlights.
Okay, and this one's, I mean, this is pretty fun. So I love these plays by Riley O'Connor. He had a fantastic game. You think of Jeff Teat, Kyle Matisse is the big addition, but look at this fake by Riley O'Connor. That is a legit shot fake. I thought he was shooting. Even with Larson Sundown behind the net, you have to be thinking, is he going to make the pass? But he sells this shot fake so completely. And I remember talking to Garrett Billings years ago when he set the NLL record for assists. And I said, how do you make so many assists? How do you manage to be so successful passing in the NLL? And he said, well, one thing is you have to be a threat. And he scored 30 goals or so and had a million assists. And he said, you've got to be a threat. If you're not a threat to shoot, everyone's just looking past. In that one, O'Connor was a definite threat to shoot, and that opened it up for Larson Sundown. And then this one, this is the game winner. Watch O'Connor with the pick, great pick, the roll, and then the give and go. And that's against Matt Spanger and Steve Priolo, two of the best defenders in the league, working together. And the thing that I love about this O'Connor pick, look how he gets up. He's on the back of Spanger here. And look, as Spanger is reaching out to Teat, he gets the pick on. So it's a solid pick. It's not an illegal pick. I think it's a good non-call, even though he got Spanger moving, because Spanger was leaning and he just timed it perfectly to get the little push. And look at the amount of space. You would never think you'd have that much space with Steve Priolo and Matt Spanger covering you, but O'Connor and Teat, just perfect positioning. And then, once you get Teat in alone like that, the chances are very good he's going to put that in.
Well, yeah, and to your point earlier, though, I mean, you see Matt Vince squares right up on Riley O'Connor because he thinks he's going to take that shot.
Yeah.
He comes right out, squares up on him, and when he dumps it down to Teat, all of a sudden it's like, oh, man, got to get back.
Yeah, and then, of course, so Vince is moving to his left, gives Teat the chance to go off to the far side to Vince's right now. And you can see Vince talking to his defenders. And Matt Vince is a great guy, obviously, if not the best goalie ever, among the top best goalies ever. But I think it's got to be pretty uncomfortable to be the guy after they're scored on who has to go stand beside him to watch the replay on the big board while he talks about what happened. Because it happens every goal. Somebody has to stand, or Ian McKay or Steve Priolo standing there and be like, yep, yeah, we definitely did that. And it's hard because, I mean, he's the greatest of all time. Again, Dallas Elliott is always up there in my mind, but, he's the greatest goalie we've seen. And he's telling you, hey, this is what happened. You got to listen.
Got cold. That was very un-Matt Vince-like.
It happens. Not very often. And the interesting thing I find with Matt Vince is it doesn't happen 2 games in a row at all. Like if you go through his career and look at how his games have gone, it seemed like they were finding an awful lot of spaces that aren't usually there on him.
Yeah, no, it was a huge night for New York. I mean, I think New York is going to be the most improved team. I think they will make that bottom playoff spot.
I'll tell you though, that game was huge for them to make the playoffs. And the comeback, I think it was a massive turnaround game for them, a turning point that I think in 10 years you're going to look back and say, New York turned the corner in that game against Buffalo. Because when Buffalo came back to tie at 13-all, I'll tell you, when it was 11-6 at the half?
Yeah.
I thought it's 50-50 who wins this game, because New York had been scoring on everything they shot. That wasn't going to keep going. Vince had come back in, was starting to sharpen up. and you knew Buffalo was coming back. They get those 2 late goals, and I thought, oh boy, this is trouble for the Riptide. And when New York got it to 13 all on the Fraser goal, I just thought, that's it. Buffalo's going to put a couple more in. Josh Burns going to go score. Dane Smith, he's going to score, set somebody up, and it'll be a nice try, New York. And they came back and played terrific. The O'Connor to Teat goal was a huge one. The defense, I think they've done a great job of mixing the veterans and the young players, and the young guys are really stepping up and playing well. I mean, Callum Jones, somebody was saying he's the best defensive rookie in the league. Probably. I think Braden Lady's been really great in Vancouver as well. But, Jones is probably the best rookie defender in the league. Again, he's 25 years old, but he's still a rookie, and he's been a great addition. But you've got Zach Deacon, another rookie, who's come in this year. He's terrific. You've got Brent Noseworthy stepping up into a big role. Ron John, who was fantastic in that game. I felt a little badly for him for the one penalty he got, the delay game, because the ball's rolling over center. It's been over and back. Now, if it's rolling over and it's going to be over and back, you can play the ball as a defender. You can stop it, you can pick it up, whatever, and then play is blown down, and then you have to put it down, right? But if the 30-second violation is called, then if the 30 seconds goes, then you can't pick it up, right? You have to just let it go. And I think he either didn't hear the whistle or it hadn't blown yet, because he was thinking it's over and back. I'm going to stop this ball here, because he was stepping up and Buffalo's kind of all breaking forward. I think he was thinking over and back, I can stop the ball. It doesn't roll in too close to let them start up really. And then it was a 30-second as well, which is what I think got him. That's a tough one because it was a bang bang.
Dunkerley came up big with a couple of saves at the end of the game.
He did. If he can do that more, then they'll be good. I still think he's a year or two away from being where he needs to be for them to really win. But
then we go into the Vancouver Saskatchewan, or I'll just say Rush because I always pronounce Saskatchewan wrong.
So we move into a game here with Saskatchewan and Vancouver, and we talked a couple weeks ago about Dawson Theed, how he's a big, strong guy, and he used his off arm as he goes to the net, not too much so he doesn't get called for the ward. And watch what Triolo does, and this is reminiscent of how he dominated at the President's Cup, and we all said, well, he can't do that. He can't just get the ball and back guys down. Well, he's using some quickness here, but look at the off arm. And Steph Charbonneau, number 19, is livid about this non-call because Triolo gets that right arm. You can see it comes off the stick, wraps around Charbonneau. That's how he gets by, but he doesn't. It's such a fine line. You don't see the ward get called very often. If you actually kind of hook the guy with the arm around him and pull him back, then you're probably going to get called. But Triolo, it's almost like the arm just leads his body. And he's kind of holding Charbonneau in place, but I think it's a good no call. I get why Steph Charbonneau is upset. I don't know if we see the end of one of the replays where Charbonneau is just screaming at the ref, like, come on, right there. You see it already. He throws his hands up. I get it, but that's a great play by the big man.
Yeah.
So this one, you're really going to see it. I love this. He gets the arm around him with the drop step. He's not pushing Charbonneau out of the way. He's just creating a lane for himself and driving through. I think that's a good non-call. And, if you're Steph Charbonneau, you're thinking, God, I got to cover Mike Triolo. That's really hard. The 6'8" guy is so strong and so skilled. And then you're going to let him use a free arm on me. But I think it's okay.
I think he gets his hand back on his stick so fast that they don't really look at it as a grab because he kind of just pops his hand down to his own hip and then has it back on his sticks lightning fast. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he's using his arm to create the spin to generate momentum for his body and to follow as much as he is tying up the defender. And then we're going to see Kevin Crowley make a couple of plays. And this first one, I hope we get the end of the clip where he's kind of laughing. Keegan Ball has the ball jogging along the side, and Kyle Killen is going to run past him and go in behind the net. This is Killen coming off the bench. You can see him go to the far side and go around. Now, Crowley passes to the far side, just kind of stays high, drifts up, and he's throwing a pass there to Killen. Absolutely. And it bounces back to him. That is a very fortunate bounce. He shows a great skill play. I don't know how this one, it's hard to see exactly what it hits because that ball shouldn't bounce back where it came from. I don't know if it hits, maybe gets a bit of Jake Boudreau, the Saskatchewan defender who has Killen tied up, or if it hits the a stick to bring it back. That ball hitting the glass should go out at 45 degrees the other side of the net, but it somehow comes back to Crowley. And you can see Frank Chiliano's over there. He knows where that ball should go. He has no chance. That's just not fair for Frank Chiliano. He didn't do anything wrong. And you've got the Saskatchewan defender racing down to try and pick up Crowley.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, and and Crowley, when you see here, when he roll, he's just kind of laughing like, I can't believe that ball came back to me. How'd that get back to him? Well, whatever. That's a big goal, huge goal. Yeah, no, this is the next one.
Okay.
Crowley sets a pick, sets another pick. Watch him here now. He's got his back. This is going to be the Keegan Ball goal. And Crowley just scored the goal. He's a big-time star for years in the league. 1 pick, 2 pick, 3 picks, 4 picks. I mean, this one's not very active, but look at that little hook with the stick. He just gets the stick, raises it up, gets it around the hand and stick of Jake Boudreau. Because when I watched this, I was like, why isn't Jake Boudreau getting out at Keegan Ball with his stick? He's just kind of running out with his body. And it's because Crowley did enough, not to draw a call, because that could be a hooking call if you do too much. But watch the way he just lifts his stick. He backs into Boudreau. Boudreau tries to head out, and Crowley says, hang on a second. Just ties it right there. You can see the stick get on the shaft and on the hand of Jake Boudreau. And that slows Boudreau's stick down just enough for Keegan Ball to have that open shot. And Ball's deadly as a shooter, obviously. But that's a huge difference because Boudreau's a great defender, and he is battling it out. He sees what's happening and goes to get there. And Crowley makes that little play that makes a huge difference. That's the little things you talk about in a game. There's one of them. All right, so we're going to go to a sequence here with a trio of goals, the first 3 goals in the third quarter. You think of Christian Del Bianco as this great outlet passer, but Dylan Ward was Del Bianco before Del Bianco, right? I mean, Dylan Ward's been doing this for a long time. Usually it's been to Joey Capito, but the last couple of years, Jordan Gillis has really stepped up. And that is a great catch, great pass, an amazing catch. Look at the positioning to be able to go that fast. Get yourself in a position where you're clear of the defender coming back on you. You get the catch and are able to turn and know where you are and where you need to shoot. With that kind of speed, it is unbelievable. And what a pass. And one of the things for Ward, they talk about how he is unusual in that he holds the stick in his left hand. They were talking about the announcers in that game. And I think that really helps him because he is right-handed. So he's going to throw the pass right-handed. So instead of picking it up in the right hand, having to kind of switch, he's got it in his left hand. He just has it up. Boom, he's in the shooting. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't make a difference because if you have the right hand, if you're holding the stick in the right hand, it's up the shaft a bit anyway. I think it's more the shaft, the end of the shaft that's the issue, right? Like you look at Christian Del Bianco here, because we're going to see it's obviously not an issue for him, but there's the shaft up behind you. When you get it, you have to get it. Now, he has already switched because he's going to chase that loose ball. But if you pick the ball, if you've got the stick in your right hand and you grab the ball, you have to kind of flip it over to get the head up there, right? Instead of with Ward, you just boop, straight up. So here's Shane Simpson getting out on the shooter. The shot goes wide, and he's gone. Zach Currier now is down by the crease. So one of those two is going to take off, right? In this case, you can see Currier stays to defend. Simpson is gone. He is blazing fast, jumps up into the air over the crease. He is 3-4 feet into the crease when he puts this ball in, but he's well up in the air. He's so athletic. It's similar to what Josh Byrne does when he comes in from the angle, and that, of course, he picked up from Callum Crawford. Look at this outlet pass from Del Bianco. Hits Simpson on the run, and that's, again, not stopping a shot and coming up with a rebound right away. That's Del Bianco going to pick up a loose ball down behind the net, and then Simpson, he just gives himself so many options here, but getting up in the air, and it's just not fair for a goaltender. Dylan Ward notoriously plays the high arc, but he's down. His left foot is, 6 inches from the goal line here. He's playing back, he's playing back to be ready to deal with whatever fakes and moves the player makes. He's not just up trying to, because if you get up too high, obviously on a breakaway, and they get by you at all to the side, then you're really vulnerable. But he's staying back, getting ready, makes a pretty good play goalie-wise. But I mean, Simpson just puts himself in a position where he can't be stopped, and he does that quite a bit. So this is the one, Jordan Gillis, again, makes just a fantastic play where he takes off with the ball, and I'm thinking, as they get this 3-on-1, I'm thinking you waited too long. You should have already passed or shot. what are you doing? You're still waiting too long. You're still waiting too long. And then now he goes down here. I'm like, you have no angle. And it looks like he's going to shoot. And then he makes the pass as they're getting another defender in there. But just a terrific play by Gillis. He knew what he was doing the whole time. That's another reason he is so dangerous in transition, because he just is such a smart player. And again, you see the agility to change the body angle, change the foot position, especially because we got Tim Edwards trailing. That's the most likely place to pass, right? Because Tim Edwards is also a very dangerous transition player. He's back up at the top. It's an easier pass. He's in a good shooting position. The hardest play there is going to Brett Craig, and he's the lowest percentage shooter among the group. You just don't see him involved as much in the transition, but Gillis makes a terrific play. Now, if this ball gets knocked down by the defender, we're probably going to be like, oh, what were you doing? You should have gone to Edwards. But man, if you make that play and the way it works out, sure looks awfully good.
Thank you so much, Stamper, for joining us. We really appreciate the time as always. What jersey you got on today?
I was just going to say, let me tilt it down a bit. This is Nova Scotia Privateers. One of the best jerseys I've ever seen. I have the black one and the white one from the from the Alice Robeski Memorial over in Prague that I go to most years, and it is just a great jersey. Yeah, thanks to Ron Humphreys for the jersey. I mean, nice touches with the Nova Scotia logo emblem on the one sleeve, and you've got the Nova Scotia lacrosse over here. Like, it's just, I don't know, it's a really cool jersey. Uh, Looks great in the black, great with the wheel on the chest. The white one just has privateers in blue in the New York Rangers style down across the front. Glorious uniform as well. So yeah, I just just trying to rep a bunch of the different places I've got jerseys from. We had the Slovakia, we had the Lakers, and this one represents a bunch of guys that I think have a chance to get to the NLL. There's more and more East Coast guys getting in. You see your Alex Pace, Liam McGraw, who was drafted by Georgia this year, but is out with a knee recovery, but he'll be in next year. Brett Draper, and I think Zach Kerrigan, who lit it up at the Robeski and scored, I don't even know how many goals he got in that tournament, but he basically was the key to them winning the championship. Was in camp with Halifax this year. I think he has a future in the NLL. When he came to Ontario to play in the summer, he was an immediate X factor for Brooklyn Merchants and Brooklyn Lacrosse Club in Senior B and MSL. He was one of the top scorers in both leagues the day he arrived. And, you've got guys like that are Jack Dulong from Nova Scotia was just the first draft pick in the Arena Lacrosse League West draft. You've got so many players who are making such big impacts, and it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love watching the guys. That's why I love watching the Riptide. I like seeing Ronjot on there. The guys that you get to watch in the summer when we're doing this, and then to see it translate into the winter, and you kind of see where guys rank. Difference between A and B sometimes is the town. You could have a great B team, but it's where a bunch of kids grew up, a new youth program going up, and they've got a ton of great guys, and it's nice to kind of get more eyes on everybody because you're seeing talent come from all of these leagues. There's so many guys
Yeah.
coming through, and I love the jerseys. I try to collect them
I want to
myself.
mention one more guy that I almost forgot that I think keep your eye on. Niall Sear, big D tranny out of Nova Scotia, playing Senior B in Ontario primarily, playing some Senior A, working hard, trying to get there. Had to overcome a knee injury, but he is back to full 100% performance. And I think he's a kid who could help somebody in the next couple of years in the NLL.
All right, so we'll pay attention to the name. All right, thanks, Tam. We'll do it again next week.
That was great. Good to see you.